Memories of matches with the Road Warriors.
That was great. Here it is. We're part-time still. On the road, our first 2 weeks of house shows. We're working Aldo Montoya and Freddie Joe Floyd. We're actually doing singles matches on the road. And we're going over every night on the road. We're winning. We're like, this is great. We're still part-time. We're wrestling other part-time works. We don't care. We're winning. We're like, this is great. We get to the arena in New York, the old ECW arena.
The Hammerstein Ballroom?
Yeah, whatever that is.
One of them.
Yeah. So we get there, and this is great. It's Monday Night Raw, and we walk in. We're all excited. And we walk up to the board. We see Animal and Hawk. We're like, oh, Animal and Hawk are here. We're like, cool. Now again, someone I grew up watching. I can remember them doing the bench press contest against the Powers of Pain.
Right.
So we're like, cool. It's great to meet them. And the lineup goes up, and we're looking down the lineup, Uniform Raw. There it is. Legion of Doom, Headbangers. We just went, oh, shit. Legion of Doom, first night back against Headbangers. So much for the happy thoughts of, hey, we're getting a little bit of a push going on here.
Yeah.
So Animal came up to us, introduced himself. Joe comes over, introduces himself, and he goes, hey, can we go somewhere and talk? We're like, yeah, sure, let's go talk. And the whole time we're thinking, what the fuck we need to talk about? She's going to squash us in 3 seconds. What's he going to talk about? He goes, oh, we met with Vince today for like 2 hours. And we're like, all right, like, good for you. Like, we're trying to be as nice as possible, but we're upset at ourselves. We're not upset at them. We're just upset at what we think is going to happen. So he goes, yeah, Vince really likes you guys. He's really high on you guys. He says, you guys are the future of tag teams here. And we're like, oh, yeah. We're like, okay, now you're building us up so you can knock us back down. And he goes, so our match tonight, double count out. We went, what? He goes, double count out. We're like, double count out? It's your first night back. He goes, yeah, he wants us to work with you guys. He wants us to wrestle you guys, but he wants double count out. He goes, you guys are the future. We're the now. He goes, we're the now. You guys are the future. He goes, regular match. And we had like a good 12 minutes on Raw. And which, back then was, even now today to have that much time.
Yeah.
So we get in there. They do their stuff. We got our stuff in. The double count out, the whole thing. And we were ecstatic. The double count out with the Legion of Doom. So later that day, there's a couple stories within this story now. So later that day, we're in the back, and they're like, Steve Lombardi comes up, and he goes, hey, I got some pre-tapes you guys got to do. We're like, pre-tapes? What do we got to do pre-tapes for? He goes, I don't know. He goes, you got pre-tapes. You're on the list. So we're like, all right. So we go into the pre-tape room. We're like, all right, what are we doing? They're like, all right, we did like a couple generic ones. And they're like, okay, now this one's for WrestleMania 13. And we're like, WrestleMania 13. We're like, all right, what are we kind of promo we doing for WrestleMania 13? They're like, well, you got to talk about your match in WrestleMania 13. We're like, well, time out, back up. WrestleMania 13, we're in WrestleMania. And they're like, yeah, you guys didn't know? We're like, no. And they're like, yeah, you're in some kind of 4-way tag match thing or whatever. So you got to do promos on that. We're like, oh, okay. So here we're wrestling Legion of Doom. We're not getting squashed. Now we find out we're in WrestleMania.
Yeah. So
later that night, we get our packets. And there's a thing in there where we had to go somewhere in New York. It said Acclaim Sports. You had to go to Acclaim, I think it was. And we're like, what do we got to go there for? And they're like, we don't know. Just, you got to go. So we went there, and that's when they did the head scans for the video game. So all on the same day, Legion of Doom, not getting squashed, WrestleMania 13, our first WrestleMania, and we found out about the, not the video game, our action figures. It was the action figures. Okay. It was Jax. And we found out about the action figures. So that was a good day for us.
That was a big day.
Yeah, that was a big day. That was
awesome.
Huge.
Did you like working with the Road Warriors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were fun. They were easy. Glenn and I were trained old school.
Yeah.
The old school concept of here's the foundation for a match. Every match has a story is how we were trained. So here's your foundation. Then you got to build the walls. Then you have your peak. Then you have, the finish. So, and, wrestling with the old school guys, going through Smoky Mountain with the old school guys and stuff made it great.
Yeah.
It made it great. And it was fun to work with them again because they didn't have attitudes. They weren't, oh, we're Legion of Doom, we're the Road Warriors, we're just going to kill you. They would do, whatever we wanted to do as well. So it went well. It was awesome.
Wow. How about the Blackjacks? Memories of wrestling with the Blackjacks?
Besides the fact that Bradshaw just wanted to rip everyone's heads off. You know what? We only worked with them a couple times. We only wrestled them a couple times right around WrestleMania when they came back. They were these two badass Texans that just would come out and just squash you. So they were just brawls. They were fights, but they were fun. I mean, Barry was great, and here you are I'm in the ring with another legend.
Yeah.
And Bradshaw just wanted to fight. He's just a Texan that wanted to fight. So that's what we did. They were just brawls. They were easy. Brawls are easy. You don't do anything.
Who are your favorite guys to travel with? I mean, obviously you travel with Glenn, but did you guys pair up with anybody else?
Not really. We kind of kept to ourselves. That's one of the things we liked about it was to stay out of trouble. And again, I don't know if staying out of trouble helped us because it seemed like some of the guys that got into trouble seemed to get bigger pushes. And I love some of them to death, but they'd be all fucked up and passed out in elevators. The next day they're world champ or something, tag team champs. But we kind of kept to ourselves because we felt that's how we stayed out of trouble. Like we didn't go to a lot of the guys would go out like in Chicago. They go to Crowbar and they would do this and they would do that. I was content going down to a hotel bar, having a drink or two, and just hanging and going to bed.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to get into the whole just bullshit of trouble with chicks and this and that and the other thing. I thought when I got to WWF, I'm here. I don't want to do anything to mess it up. I had a plan. I want to stay here. I want to end up one day being a road agent. I'm going to retire here. I have nowhere to go. And again, one of those learning curves that I would do all over different, like signing over the rights to the Headbangers to Vince, because again, I thought we were there. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we had it before we got there.
Wow.
But we made that mistake.
Did you sign over the gimmick right when you first started there, or was that something that you did while you were there?
While we were there, probably like a month or two in.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was pretty soon, but two things. One thing was I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do and I keep my nose clean, I'm going to have a job.
Right.
It's kind of the theory, the idea behind it. And the other thing is I thought if we would have said no, then we wouldn't have had a job.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like in a catch-26 in one hand, a half dozen in the other. What do we do? So, again, thought we were going to be there, so we signed it over.
Wow. Memories of your WWE matches you had with the Rock and Roll Express?
Those were fun again. I mean, here you are, Ricky and Robert, national TV for the NWA World Tag Team titles. When they were trying to do that whole angle, and then they tried the new and improved Midnight Express. Ricky and Robert were just classic because they made everything look so awesome, and in reality, you didn't feel shit. I mean, I can't tell you how many times Robert would get in the back and he'd go, Chaz, I was doing this unit song. I'm like, Robert, I can't feel you. Like, if I can't feel it, like that's how I was trained. So they were easy. I mean, just easy. Cake.
Did you like the NWA angle that you guys were doing?
I was on TV. I loved it. I didn't care what they did. I didn't care. But it was kind of funny to go through an airport and pull out an NWA tag belt, and they're like, "Well, I thought you were WWF." Yeah, well, we are, but we're NWA. Well, how can you be WWF if you're NWA tag team? We just are. Can I just get through security? Like, it was just funny to explain. But yeah, I mean, it was on TV. You got the belts. NWA was the biggest thing, and working against Cornette and those guys, and it was like Cornette's kind of his angle, and it was just awesome.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.